Happy full moon, everyone, in Virgo. We're going to get 3 cards here and see what we can pull out about this big release. I feel like for many of us, and it's not just because I'm a Virgo stellium, I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about the collective, and this is the energy that I'm picking up. Let's be honest, with or without the moons, with or without astrology, with or without picking up on these astrological, as a Virgo, I'm somebody that focuses on patterns. I'm somebody that hyper fixates on like how things connect. So through the years, I had these inclinations, and I'm saying this for everybody here. This is an example. I had these inclinations of like, I know something. Like, I'm picking up something. I'm picking up on a trend. I'm picking up on a pattern here. I'm picking up on something that isn't just about me. Like, other people are going through what I'm going through at this time, and I could feel it. And now, over the past few years, since I've started to study astrology, I've started to study, I've had a new perspective. I've had a paradigm shift when it comes to, because I was a Christian minister. I came from the Christian church. They believe, I'm not going to generalize, where I came from, the people that I dealt with in many, many different churches and denominations, I never had one good result when it came to our community. I'm sorry. Maybe that's controversial. Oh, my great aunt so-and-so is very supportive of astrology. In fact, she's an astrologer and she burns sage every day. It's like, I'm not saying, okay. Over-explaining is a Virgo trait. So I'm going to be very Virgo in this video, everybody. All right, that's enough shuffle. That's enough shuffling. That's enough over-explaining. That's enough confusing ourselves and gaslighting ourselves out of our own reality, right? Again, just to remind everybody, I get into the energy. I'm not just like ranting. I'm saying things that the energy is. Does that make sense? It's like an allegory or a demonstration of the energy. Yes. Another 5 here. We had the 5 of Pentacles before. 5 of Wands. All right. Let me back up. Let's start here. I always was picking up on things, you know, like I would pick up on these like collective messages. I was a prophetic minister. And basically what that is the same exact thing that I'm doing now, except I didn't use cards, right? I've always given messages. I've always had dreams. And this is my read, with or without astrology. But now with astrology, it really makes sense that all those years I was actually picking up on these astrological transits and the moons, especially. I've always been very connected to the moon. Ever since I was a child, I would look up into the sky. I would just be fascinated by the moon. I almost worshipped the moon. And I know that's, oh, the Christians, oh God, the Christians, they're going to come for me. But the pagans, you know what I'm talking about. All right, anyways, you don't have to be pagan. I'm just saying, all right. Yes, exactly. It was like a coming together for me. And I feel like things came together during the time of this Virgo, I'm going to call it a transit. It's a lunar cycle. But it really feels, to me, from the new moon to the full moon, which the new moon in Virgo was back in September of 2023, right? All the way to now, which is today, the day I'm filming this, February 24th, 2024. Got my moon sheet. I know I'm no Molly McCord, guys, I know. But I'm doing my best here. My point with saying what I'm saying is that we've had a lot of struggles when it's come to trusting our own truth. And this is a Virgo energy. We could literally be making connections. You don't have to be a Virgo for this to apply to you. It's the energy from the new moon to the full moon. These are some themes that you could have been dealing with, right? Where it's like you would make these connections. I'm not flipping you off. Maybe you're flipping somebody off. I don't know for not listening to you. But it's like you're making these connections here. These connection points. Like, see these circles around Metatron's cube, around the perimeter here? That's how I'm seeing this Three of Pentacles. It's like with me, I tried to explain, this is just one example. I tried to explain to people and over-explain to people how, for example, two ideas could come together. Like, I was a prophetic minister, meaning I would have these predictions and stuff, and now I see years later, with or without understanding astrology, their lunar cycles, or any of that stuff, I was making these connection points. Again, it's these connection points, which is so Virgo. It's like here, there's these connection points, 1, 2, 3 points that come together. Here, there's 2 connection points, right? I feel like as a whole, I believe that's happened from September 2023 until now, February 2024, is that even subconsciously in the back end, we were making these connections. And then they started to go out with, like, for example, Metatron's cube, the complexity of that, right? How many points are connecting there? They say that every shape imaginable is within this one shape here, which is Metatron's cube. Okay. Virgo. Virgo is the 6th house. And I'm gonna read what I wrote down here because I liked what this website concluded about the 6th house. It says, the realm of humility is the 6th house. See, people look at Virgo energy as hypercritical. In the highest vibration of Virgo, it is like an Isis energy, like the goddess Isis. It is an energy that calls us, and I'm in here, just because I'm a Virgo doesn't mean I'm like, hello everyone, I'm a Virgo and I'm telling you this. No, honey. I'm under, trust me, I'm looking up to Isis. This is like an Isis energy. It's like the goddess Isis. It's like an energy of, and I'm going to read the 6th house thing. It's an energy of, that we can all relate to, of calling ourselves to rise. And in the shadow of Virgo, that can be critical or hyper analyzing, or like with Metatron's cube, this is a very Virgo energy. It's like what could come off as you seeing and understanding these patterns and trends even within like somebody's personality, which I don't recommend as a Virgo stellium. I would not hyperanalyze somebody's personality and then start pointing out the things that they could improve if they're not asking. Trust me, that's not good. It's toxic Virgo, all right? But what I'm seeing here is this is a hard thing to unpack. Let me stop for a second here. Patterns, trends, and connection points. Patterns, trends, and connection points, right? This Virgo energy, 6th house, the realm of humility, it's actually humility because we understand, this Virgo energy understands how complex the universe really is, how complex we all really are. And it's this sense in the highest vibration of Virgo of actually bowing before our own paradigm, bowing before the complexity of that, all of the angles, all of the shapes, all of the, it's like a microscope. You could be looking at my hand here, but if you zoom in with a microscope, you're going to see a lot going on. You're going to see all sorts of things moving around, right? And with Virgo, that can be used, same with like Scorpio, for example, that ability to like read something to filth and actually use it as like a weapon. No, in the highest vibration of Virgo, it's actually a point of humility for us to look at ourselves and where we can improve. The realm of humility where we learn how to better ourselves and be of service to the whole. That is the highest vibration of Virgo, and that personally, as a Virgo, sun and rising, Mars, I think I have something else in Virgo too. Regardless, I have multiple placements of Virgo. As a Virgo stellium, I am saying that what we've all experienced, it's just more obvious for me because I'm a Virgo, is that we've been making these connections from September 2023 to now, February 2024, and it could even be subconscious, where we're starting to understand it's not a point of criticism. It's actually a point of humility of the things we can improve in ourselves. It's a glow up energy. It's an Isis energy. It's an earth angel energy. It's being one with nature and understanding the complexity of like what's inside of the leaf. When you zoom in on the leaf, what does that mean? When we zoom in upon the complexity of who we are as human beings, what does that mean? And that could quickly turn to, if we're not careful, conflict and cutting actualizations that actually cut us down and cause conflict in our lives if we become hypercritical. But on the inverse of criticism is actually a form of like humility and improving energy. It's like if you say you're playing basketball and you have a basketball coach. It's like if you're working with a coach, you want that coach to hit you. You want that coach to help you improve. We're the coach and the player in this energy from September to now. We, even subconsciously, even if we weren't aware of the lunar cycles or any of that stuff, this is just my read on what we've been experiencing, and it has to do with self-love, actually. Love, actually. Referencing the movie. And it could be love for some of us, literally, where it's like we had to learn to love ourselves. This is rose quartz. This is an energy of self-love. It's like for a lot of us, especially if you're a Virgo or have Virgo in your chart, but even if not, it's just in the periphery of the other energies that you're working with. We're all working with this energy here. That's why I like to read on the moons, because it's for everybody, right? It's not just for like Virgos. Anyways, it's like we were making these connection points within our self-love, so that now possibly we can make connections with other people, with a new lover, with a pet even. You might want to adopt a new pet. You might want to start a new workout routine, or you have been doing that because we're at the full moon. So it's like, but this is what I also see with the full moon. It's kind of like this, and we're going to get to the cards, guys. It's kind of like this. Everything that I'm saying here, talking about improving over the past like 6 months since September, and working on ourselves and making these connections and learning to not be critical and not over-explain and live our truth even if people disagree with it, and come into communion with our own selves and eventually other people, making these connection points within ourselves and our ideology, and transforming with this butterfly energy within those things so that we can become these whole, free, grounded individuals, right? That's what the energy has been from the new moon in Virgo until now, until the full moon. But even if you didn't do any of that, even if you're coming in to class on the day before the exam, this is the crazy part about the moons, in my opinion, when you're hitting the full moon. You can have a flash of a revelation of everything that happened up until now. Because even if you don't realize that it was happening, it was happening for you. These themes were happening for you, even if it was in a subconscious way, or even if it was a tiny, tiny thing where you started drinking more water. Just take that as an example. You just started drinking more water. Sixth house. health related, routine related. Maybe you got your routine tighter. Maybe you started waking up in the morning earlier, whatever, right? And you didn't make the connection that it was because of that Virgo energy. Regardless, this is the crazy thing about the full moons. I truly believe you can come into class at the last day before the exam, take the entire night to study, take the entire, and I do believe that this full moon lasts a few days before and a few days after, the potency of it. So even if you're watching this a couple days after February 24th, you're still going to be able to access what I'm saying here. It's like you can quote unquote take that exam, meaning you can gain the benefits or the revelation of everything that we've been through over the past 6 months until now in a flash, because you can go back like through your camera roll, for example, like go back to September 2023 and start scrolling through. If you look on my community tab or on my Instagram at the Metamystic, follow me on Instagram, by the way, I love you guys. You can see that I posted some pictures over like some of the stuff that I experienced from September until now, because I looked through my camera roll to see like what happened. I literally moved into this house. Over the course of that event, I started taking care of myself better. I started working out more. I started eating healthier. I'm eating much cleaner now. I drink a lot more water. My routine has gotten tighter, which are all Virgo themes, right? And it's not just because I'm a Virgo. So with that said, let's get to these cards. But I had to open with all of that because Virgo energy, it does call us to rise, right? Why? Because imagine if you, okay, this is you. This is the complexity of who you are. This is your DNA. This is like a DNA strand. This is the makeup of your personality. This is the memories that you hold, who you believe yourself to be, and who you believe yourself to be relating to other people, and how these connection points all come together. We're all complex. We all have our own stories. It's like you're looking at all of that, zooming in on that. It's like, what do you do with that? It's like we start to pick things out and see, like, it's not in a critical fashion. It's just looking at the truth, right? It's like, oh, dang, like, I'm always talking about how I want to be healthier, but I'm not taking any actions. It's like, well, Virgo can help you with that. Again, even if you're coming in at the full moon and you did absolutely nothing the past 6 months to improve your health, I would argue that that's the case because, like I said, it's in the back end. But anyways, it's the energy. It's we're one body is how I see the collective. I don't see us as all different signs and blah, blah, blah. I see us as one, and then we shoot out in these other shoots, if you will. We all experience a collective thing, I personally believe. So it's like, what do we do with that information? Even if you're coming in on the last day of the exam, and it's like, you can have this, you can take today, you can watch this video and just think like even what things you want to improve on the full moon, I'm saying. And maybe people won't agree with that, and they'll be like, well, the full moon is about release. Yes, it's about release, but it's also about revelation. It's the culmination of everything that's happened. And it's okay to like just take a minute and just think. It doesn't have to be hypercritical. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to all make sense even. It can just be a feeling of you taking a minute right now and just being like, where do I want to better myself? The realm of humility, 6th house, where we learn how to better ourselves and be of service to the whole. And to the whole can be our own organism even. It's kind of like an Aquarian energy in a way with Virgo, where it's like we want to better ourselves and better the collective. It's to serve. It's in the high vibration of Virgo. It's not to nitpick. It's not to call anybody out. It's not to say these are all the things that you need to abide by and do. It's an honest energy. It's a transparent energy. It's looking at the details of the situation so that we can understand what we're dealing with and how things got out of control or overgrown or how did this become a monster? Well, let's dissect it and let's look at the core issue. Let's go to the root of the problem and actually handle it with truth and honesty, right? Card number 1 is the 7 of Swords. See, this is an energy of, I'm seeing this today as deceiving ourselves, and that's what Virgo helps us to do. Virgo helps us to, and this is the crazy part, yes, it can feel scary to zoom in because we may be afraid of what we find. We could also be afraid of what we're going to find when it comes to like relationships. It's like sometimes you don't want that eyeglass of Virgo to come over your relationships and look at the details, because Isis, the mother who cares about you and your value and your worth, if her all-seeing eye comes over your relationship and doesn't approve, that could be intimidating to the people that are doing sketchy stuff, right? Or even to our own selves. It's an energy of humility. It's an energy of bowing before the oneness of all that is, and understanding we're everything and we're nothing all at the same time. It's like, this is the zoomed in of what we are, but when we zoom out, we're already perfect, is my point. Virgo doesn't want you to be perfect. Virgo just wants to expose the truth and why things maybe feel off or strange, or you aren't connecting with yourself in the way that you wish you could. Or what this is, the 7 of Swords, it's the examination period. It can feel a little bit unnerving to look behind the curtain, but it's worth doing because it's out of a place of honesty with the intention of bettering ourselves. It's not to put ourselves down and, oh wow, I suck. I've gained 20 pounds. I don't work out anymore. Oh, my routine's all over the place. My sleep schedule sucks. No, it's not to put ourselves down. It's to just look at it honestly and almost in a detached form. Right? For me, the highest vibration of Virgo, it's a detached energy. It's kind of just looking and observing a situation with no emotion. It's just looking at, okay, here's the information. Some of it bad, some of it good. Bad, good, whatever. Right? We look at it, we face the truth, and we do with that what we will to better our situation. Card number 2 is the Knight of Wands. What is this Knight of Wands here? See, with Virgo, and I'll speak from a perspective of a Virgo, I can become very rigid. I can become very critical of my own self, and I try to never put that towards other people to the best of my freaking ability, and I work on that all the time because that's not helping anyone, right, Virgo? Okay, with this Knight of Wands energy, what I'm seeing is it's this fire coming in. It's a cleansing fire. That's how I'm seeing this today. It's like when we look at the truth, maybe there are things about ourselves that we don't like, or we feel like we're not good enough, or we could be better, and those are all good things, but it depends on the intention of how we're coming at the issue. So what I'm seeing with this Knight of Wands here, I'm seeing it more as just like a fire energy that's trying to burn through. Like when a fire burns, when ash is the cleanest something can be. It's like when you bring something down to ash and you burn it all up here, within ourselves and within our, maybe even our relationships. It's like this sort of truth coming through and revealing what's really there. And it's like, it's the refiner's fire, to use a biblical term. The fire comes through and it burns everything up. Because I'm just getting this imagery here when I looked at the Knight of Wands of, you know when you've been sitting by a bonfire for a long time and it's late into the night and it's a beautiful summer night and you hear the sound of, the chirping bugs in the woods, and you're looking up into the stars and it's a clear, beautiful sky, and you look down into the bonfire and you see those gorgeous golden amber embers of the fire, and it's like the wood has become that kind of weird, like soft look to it. This is a softening energy. This softens us from being rigid and critical, because when the truth comes out, especially if there are things that we don't want to see or we don't want to look at or we're hiding from or we don't want to look at in other people even, it's like there's a softening that can happen in this place of truth where we still hold the truth of the situation with honesty and integrity, but it also brings in this clarification. It brings in this cleansing fire energy that can bring us down to the essence, the embers, the purified form of the self. That's how I'm seeing this Knight of Wands here. And it also brings a flexibility into an otherwise more rigid energy here, right? Or too cold of an energy, even with Virgo at times. Card number 3 is the 8 of Pentacles. This is an energy of mastery, and I'm seeing it today as like mastering the self, right? Like we talked about with the 6th house. It's the 6th house. Virgo energy is to help us better ourselves. And with the 8 of Pentacles, it's an energy of, it's a work in progress. We're a work in progress. That's how this is coming through today. Like I was saying about, not being hypercritical or like we can look at the truth without being critical or negative. We can look at it as we are a work in progress. We're doing our best. We're showing up every day. We're showing up. We're showing out. We're giving things our all. And that's the best you can do. You know what I mean? Especially if you're being honest and open and transparent with yourself and other people, and you're doing the best you can, and you're clearing out all of the toxicity, and you're working on yourself every day. This is like 6th house energy. You're bettering yourself every day and you're serving your cause. He's working on something. He's working on something that will benefit other people and himself. So in conclusion, what I'm seeing with this full moon is it's just a wonderful time of thinking about like coming more in communion with loving ourselves and not being afraid to observe the things that we want to improve in a lens of love and bettering ourselves as opposed to breaking ourselves down. So I love you guys so much. It's been Missy Gordon, the Metamystic here, and I will see you on the next one. Oh, and check out my full moon, new moon playlist if you want to look back at our older episodes, because honestly, like even though that they've already passed, it's things to think about that will come up again at the next lunar cycle, for example. So I love you guys. We have the new moon in Pisces coming up next, and we will have a video for that when the time comes. I love you all, and I will see you on the next one.